Oh, why are you arresting me?
Resisting.
Resisting what?
Resisting your car.
Hello and welcome back to another ranked review. Today we are looking at Ethos Resist from Ethos Car Care. Right up front, disclosure time. This was sent to me by Ethos. I did not pay for it. They do not have any say in this or any preview. It's the same rounds of testing and all that malarkey that we've done for every other product. So just so you know that this one was not purchased, but it doesn't get special treatment. So moving on. This one is people have requested quite a few times. I was curious about it too for a long time because it used to be known for being torture test proof-ish. So I was curious about it. I reached out to Ethos actually quite a while ago. I started this conversation. But they were working on a slight revision at the time. So sort of waited and then just sort of forgot about it. And after foam party was replaced by pure shampoo, I reached back out again and just wondered if that was ever ready. Turns out it was. So this is this version. The basic, from what I've been told, and it seems to be verified from my experience using it, is that the hydrophobics have been turned down a notch, but the application ease of use has been increased substantially. The durability has not been affected. It's just the beading is not super round and tight, high contact angle. It's more of a blobby, kind of like a Griot's 3-in-1. Not super great, but persistent so far. So that was the change up. It was for an ease of use and application. Now, will we see that? Will we see that type of beading? Will we see that ease of use? Will it have its same chemical resistance that it's shown in the past? That's what we're going to find out. So, going right into it, we'll start with the application on the door, moving on to the gloss and fill panel where we test the fill, then the chemical exposure to Bilthamber Auto Foam at 2%, and meet back here for the conclusion. All right, up next we have Ethos Resist. This is a new version of this product, so I've had it for a little while. Ooh, smells nice. So this one, the priority is anti-static, ease of application. Durability hasn't been compromised, but hydrophobics, they say, have been notched down a smidge. I've probably already covered that if I not already. But I've applied it to an entire car already. It is very nice to apply. I just finished applying Sonax Polymer Net Shield, and this is going to be a dream. Application instructions are pretty straightforward. Get the right. Spray it onto the cloth or the panel. It's always better to put it on the cloth, especially if it's dry, because that way it'll prevent premature absorption off of the panel. You want it to sort of work it in, and I can already see it flashing. Let me get this to the other style. Yeah, it's gone. It's feeling slick already, and I'm still on the wet side with 2 sprays into it. But yeah, no, it's... After doing Sonax, this is an absolute dream. And it's rightfully so. Like, this is a nice application experience. They want you to use 2 cloths. I am working on half of a door. A dream. This is a dream to apply. If you're after something with a really, really good application experience, this should be up there in your top 5, at least, if not top 3. It's a bit spendy, especially here in Canada. We'll get to the pricing later, but that was a dream. Again, this was a nightmare, but that was a dream. Oh, it's raining. Yeah, I don't have any long-term test results with it. The car I put it on was a rental, and that has gone back to the body shop. So I will have it in long-term testing soon enough. But right now, yeah, application-wise, 10s up and down, left and right, everywhere. It is an absolute dream to use. So anyway, moving on. Okay, in this section, we have Ethos Resist. This is a slightly updated formula, I guess you could say, from the very original one, but nevertheless, it is in that section up here has been untouched, and over here is polished to as good as I can get this panel. I can still get a little bit of machine haze. The other side doesn't have this issue. This one does, so don't know why, but it does. But anyway, let's pull the tape. Sometime today. Now the application on this was extremely easy, and there's a running theory that the easier it is to apply, the less it improves the appearance, and that seems pretty in line here. I'm going to say it is a 4. It's darkened it a bit. It really hasn't done a whole lot on the filling front, but just a bit of darkening. It's better than a 3. It is not a 5 or above. So I am going to call it a 4, but you know, the application experience on this is so stinking good that if you get a 4, it's better than nothing, right? So anyway, moving on. Okay, so we have gone through the testing and we are now going through the rankings here and see how it does in all the categories. Starting with price, for myself through Carzilla, this will be $39.99 for this 16-ounce bottle. I didn't actually check if there was a gallon. I'll put it on the screen, editor me. But again, I rated all on the size closest to 500 ml 16 ounce. That's the pricing I use. Because if you're going to start out with a product, that's probably the size you're going to buy. For me, $39.99 for 16 ounces is expensive, in my opinion. So it's not going to score great here. I'm giving it a 3. Again, where you live, your pricing will be different. If you are not my neighbor, you will have different pricing. So please, you know, if you don't want pricing in the scoring on the sheets, just take the whole pricing column out and just rate it off of the performance metrics. But I do care about price, especially, you know, things that are in high consumption. You know, 16-ounce bottle, depending on the type of product, doesn't go that far. So I have applied this to a whole car though, so its mileage has been okay, but $40 for 16 ounces is pretty pricey. I prefer to see it in the mid to low 20s is a nice spot for me for a 16-ounce bottle. But again, this day and age, who knows where things are going to go, but 3 out of 10. Moving on, application, 10. Just super easy. I've used it with various cloths on various panels, temperature ranges so far since I've had it. I've had it for a couple months, or a month and a bit at least. And it's just been dead easy. You could be super careless and this stuff is pretty dang forgiving to that. Like, obviously don't be careless, but the application is very, very good. And the slickness on it is very, very good as well. And it is getting a 10. Especially like an hour later. Usually I don't like, I'm not considering that in the score. The slickness right after application is great, but an hour later, it's even better. And, I don't like that whole but next day you can feel it and it's super slick. Next day there's dust on the paint, but an hour later is pretty dang impressive. And it's in the garage and you don't have super dusty conditions. You should be able to touch your car an hour later. But yeah, slickness, application, could not be easier. They do recommend a low nap for the spread and a higher nap for the wipe off, but I used it with cheap cloths and it was great. And I think that's something that, although you should have good cloths, it sucks when you have to buy something that's like $40 and then you must buy another, tens of dollars just in cloths to make it be nice to use. So it's forgiving. It's very, very forgiving. Hydrophobics, as we saw, not super stellar. They're a 6 out of 10. But again, that was a compromise made in the product, according to Tim. And what he said so far, in every aspect of using this, has lined up with exactly what they were trying to do, or the compromises they made for the gains they made. And hydrophobics was a compromise. I do like really tight round beading. I think it's fun. I don't get water spots here, so maybe that's why I like it a lot. But yeah, hydrophobics is a 6 out of 10. Chemical resistance, it's a 9 out of 10. This did very, very well. Just a small amount of slowdown at the end there. It seemed to go away a little bit by the end of the rinsing that you saw in the clip, but you could see in the middle it's just not quite perfect, but it's very close. If you on your own score want to give it a 10, I wouldn't argue with you too much, but just when I see all forms of rinse, I don't just check one rinse, it's got to be multiple. It did slow down a smidge, but it still hung around really, really well. So the durability from the chemical standpoint has not been compromised to that application experience. Filling score, this is right back in that average range that we've been seeing, especially for the easy to use products. Giving it a 4. It was better than that 3 that we saw for quite a while. This one is a smidge better. But again, compared to a couple of the other products we had recently, not a super filler. So again, it'll help. Any car will look better with any amount of, fill ability or jetting or whatever you want to call it. Most products will help. They won't hurt usually the visual, even if they're, they drop a gloss unit, but if they fill in and jet it a lot, it's still noticeable and, people like that look. So it'll help, but don't buy it for that. Definitely don't buy it for that. Buy shiny wax, it's much cheaper too. Bottle, again, this is the bottle and trigger that came straight from Ethos, so I have no worries about whether or not this is a bad trigger. It doesn't leak, but I like having that head where you can fine tune how it mists. I don't just want one mist setting and off, or one mist and then a stream. I think the stream triggers, stop putting them on detailing products that are like sprays like this. You're not using them, but yeah, it's a 1 out of 2 for the trigger. The bottles, your basic bullet bottle, but it's, it's not weak, it didn't break or anything, so it's fine. Labels a 2 out of 2. Lots of good, clear instructions, lots of explanation. It's your typical marketing stuff, but they have really good, nice big section for the application, which just makes it, very forgiving for, anyone who isn't aware of how to use a product like this. Maybe it's their first one. Again, it's stupid easy to use and very forgiving to use, but it's just nice to know that the instructions are very well written and legible and clear and easy to see. So that's a 2 out of 2 on the label. Now, with that said, if you're keeping score at home, that makes it 45 out of 64, which is, again, on that bell curve, we're on the higher peak of that curve, which, I think the pricing and the hydrophobics are the two areas where this thing lost its edge, its ability to really dominate. The application is perfect. The chemical resistance is very good. And the label, again, it's only 2 points, but it was a good label. It's an easy 2 points. You know, the application on this is perfect. The chemical resistance seems good, although that doesn't mean anything. There will be more future testing with this in the real world. But for now, it's a very good showing, it's a very strong showing. The price is my weak point for this, especially where I live. Again, where you live, that might not be the case. Don't apply my pricing to where you live. But other than that, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.